Okay. Welcome. Joseph, good to see you, man. Sorry, I definitely tweeted out the wrong link. I tweeted out the invite link to hosts here and posted the YouTube link in a response to my original tweet. So, yeah, hopefully people can go over there. But what we want to do is open up this new like life of live streams, sadly away from FlutterFlow official channels, but we'll dive into the same content and also some content that will hopefully help builders, right, like you and me, build out better processes as we work with clients. So this won't always be targeted towards freelancers and agency owners, but for me, as I come back into the agency world and as I start my sort of my new journey, which is partially an old journey, I wanted to establish best practices. And so those best practices are processes that we will implement in every FlutterFlow project that we take on. And so uh, I wanted to share those with you. This is like an open book. I essentially give everybody my strategy so that you can partake in the success that we also implement. Now, there's still a lot of hard work involved. I so often find these people selling these processes online, like, oh, take my course and build out a service-based product design industry and you'll make millions. And it's not actually true, because those people are extremely talented typically that do that. And if you don't have that talent and that speed and that ability, implementing their process doesn't help at all. So I'm trying to, yeah, Daniel, or Paul, thank you so much for your comment, letting me know that the link was wrong. You're right. I wish I could edit. I need to get pro Twitter so I can edit my tweets and remove the links. But yeah, I'm just sort of waiting around for a few more people to join. We don't get the influx of the FlutterFlow channel that we did, so we probably won't have as many people, and that's okay. We'll grow it back up to a number that works. So I will try to find a co-host eventually. I have Jamie who's going to try to moderate the chat here. He's always had very good insights on building in FlutterFlow and very good requests on what we should showcase to build. So I reached out to him. Yeah, but hopefully we'll have somebody that I can also interact with, and maybe we set up this live stream where we host other builders and other agency owners or entrepreneurs that have built stuff in FlutterFlow. Oh, let me check. All right, let's see here. We'll do Jamie.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just a bit busy to be on video at the moment, moving around, but I'm trying to work out how to highlight questions in the chat. Obviously, I'm helping Andrew moderate it, so any questions, like keep them fairly slow. Don't be mega fast with them all. But we're just working out in the background how I can highlight them and put them on screen and stuff like that. So give us a few minutes, maybe.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I want to continue building out content that will help our community at FlutterFlow to be better builders and to also deliver better products. So if you guys have, I think many of the people that join this live stream attempt to be an expert at FlutterFlow or are already experts at FlutterFlow. So when you guys become experts, or the reason, if you're getting rejected, part of that reason is the inadequacy of process implemented in your projects. Okay. So quality of builds, quality of delivering, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to help you understand what we go through at Kaleo, or when I could take on a new project. And this applies to all of my time at FlutterFlow as well, right? Whenever a new feature came, we had 0 user stories. Okay. If you've been in product design long, or if you've been in tech long, a user story helps define what is needed for any feature set, right? A user story is typically created by a product owner or project manager and is handed off to the design team, who then comes up with what's needed, the things on the screen, right? If as a user, I want to do this, okay, well, I need a button here. As a user, I want to do this on the screen. Okay, well, I need a form field that allows me to create a name, something like that. We did 0 of those. Okay. It was part of our success. And it was also part of our, it's not really demise, but as you grow, you need to establish those processes. So that's what FlutterFlow is now doing. It's establishing those processes. But we were able to build quickly because I was able to sort of comprehend the requirements from the dev team and then work with the developers hands-on and build out those features in design and then implement them into FlutterFlow as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share my screen, and this will be less building and more process and sort of the thinking behind. I know that many people have asked, like, hey, what does it look like to get a project, and what's the process you go through from sort of receiving a lead to defining the product, and then to building that out. So that's sort of what I'm going to do here, because we have had 4 or 3 FlutterFlow leads, right? 3 FlutterFlow projects come into Kaleo this week. And as we sort of approach those, I'm trying to establish these are best processes. These are best practices that we want to implement when you communicate with clients, and also when you sort of kick those projects off. So yes, Ruben, it is streaming on YouTube as well, if you want to watch it there. Let's go ahead and share. I'm going to do a window and Figma. And let me bring it up. Okay. Oh, I'll unminimize here. Perfect. Let's see. Okay. Cool. All right. So part of planning part of the process is planning. So I would say the 4 things, and I probably should have put this on a slide, but the 4 things that I go through is planning, defining, implementing, and iterating. Then a 5th one would be delivering, right? Don't forget delivering. But when I plan, right, the process of planning out a project is typically taking notes on the user types, right? And this sort of goes into user experience design and product design thinking, right? Because you have to actually define personas and do some research. In all honesty, at Kaleo, in the 10 years we've designed, we've only done 2 research projects. It's a totally different field from UX design and also product design. So yes, Ruben. So this is a good one, actually. Taking on FF projects, curious to see onboarding process for clients. We will talk about that. The project I'm showcasing here, I'm actually going to be building out in FlutterFlow, and in that, I'm going to create a learning management system. If you guys don't know what an LMS is, it's a learning management system. And in that learning management system, I'm going to house a bunch of FlutterFlow specific and agency freelance specific processes and tutorials and courses. So yeah, hopefully I'll be teaching a lot more FlutterFlow stuff, and so that you guys can understand this. So this is the first thing. I evaluate the user types that I'm designing for, and the screens that are needed for each of those user types. Okay. You can do this without a product owner. You can do this without a project manager. You can do this just by yourself. It's a very simple process. Yeah. And this LMS will be deployed to the web, iOS, Android, iPad. I want it to be available everywhere. That's why I'm building it in FlutterFlow. And also, I just want to demythify the fact that you can't build robust web apps in FlutterFlow. I know that most people, even builders that are doing stuff in FlutterFlow, they're like, no, I always use WeWeb, or I do this. And it's like, hey, that's great. You guys, everybody can do that. No problem. At Kaleo, we've built out a dozen web applications. either admin panels or management portals. They all work in Flutter. They all work on the web. They work quite well. They're, yeah, a little laggy, a little slow. But again, before React and Angular were popular, before they sort of got refined, they were also slow. They could only work in Chrome. You know, I remember back in the day, we would design apps and it was like, oh, Chrome only, or, you know, you couldn't use it in Safari or Internet Explorer. But this process is simple. Go through the screens needed. Okay, this is an LMS. So an LMS, you have content, and there's 3 levels of content that I'm going to be doing, or 3 levels of organization that I'm going to be doing in this content. So we'll have courses. That course will be like FlutterFlow for beginners, or FlutterFlow for advanced users, FlutterFlow backend, something like that. In those courses, I will have modules. Those modules will be sections, right? Those sections will contain lessons. So courses, modules, lessons. A lesson is the bare minimum, essentially, but all of those things will exist in my backend as well. So that's another step in that process of defining. Okay, and we'll get into that. Sorry, Joseph. Yeah, I am triggering the thumbs up a lot, actually. So this is what I did. I did this with one of my designers at Kaleo yesterday, but I just did it for the student. So in order for the student to actually like get into the platform, they need to log in, create an account, right? We're going to do avatar, name, role. We're going to do a little student quiz. So we're going to try to intake information from all the people that sign up. So, you know, how long have you been designing or developing? Are you a designer or a developer? Do you have experience with Flutter? What are your learning goals or learning objectives? I really want to know what people want to know. Yeah, I want to know what people want to know. So I want to generate content that is beneficial to the community, right? I sort of think I know what most people want to know, but I just don't want to read people's minds. It's not good to make assumptions in design, right? In UX design or research. So never make assumptions. But with that, we need a home screen with current courses. If you have an account, right, you will have progress indicator. You'll have a course name, description, a video preview. So what I've done here is high level. I have the screen. In the bullet points, which this sort of breaks down because I didn't do all of the numbers as screens. But in here, I have content that's going to be on the screen. And then in the sub bullet points, I have things that will be on in that section. Okay. So this is going to help me break down what I need to design in the platform, right? When I go to wireframing and user flow, I'm going to know, okay, I need a progress indicator, right? These are going to have videos. This course is going to have like a video preview or a cover photo. It's going to have a name, a description. Cool. We're going to have popular courses. Those popular courses are just going to be the same as here, maybe just without the progress indicator. Then we have the course details. This is going to house the modules. Modules consists of a number of lessons, right? So, you know, it's going to be a detail screen. It's going to probably have a list view or a grid view of modules. And in those modules, it's going to have additional information about how many lessons and what you will learn during each of those modules. So then we have lesson details, and I got really specific here because it's going to be like where most of the interaction is going to happen, right? Because the other two are just sort of filtering. You're going to go course details, module details, right? You're just making one click, just literally one click with some view stuff. But here in the lesson details, we're going to be doing description, learning objectives, video, number of views, current progress, possibly some transcripts for the videos, comments for the lesson, CTA, hidden in a menu, maybe like a mark as complete or some dynamic way of, you know, as you go through the lesson, you know, once you get to 70% or something, you will, once you get to like 70%, it'll mark it as complete. So we've done this for a client actually who's done a meditation app where we built out a custom audio player for them. And once you get to 70% of the audio, it marks it as complete. It's very cool. It sort of gamifies the meditation app space. So bottom, top, bottom. Okay, let's see. Okay, and then we have in this LMS, I'm also going to have a quiz. So every module, maybe even, no, I don't think every lesson, but every module you'll have a quiz that will test your knowledge, right? I think that one thing that is required for any type of learning is the testing of that knowledge, right? You have to sort of practice that. And some of that is just building, right? But in other areas, it's good to have the general knowledge of what is happening. So, Eli, I'm going to use Firebase because that's what I'm most comfortable with. It's the most expansive. And also, I want to use push notifications. And currently, you can't do push notifications without Firebase. So, I'm going to use Firebase. Also, it's really extensive. So, we're going to have quiz page. So yeah, name, description, current progress, grade, result if you've already completed it, quiz content, help, FAQ system, section. These two are sort of, I don't know if we're going to do community in the app or we're going to do it somewhere else. And then we just have my account. So completed courses, stats for overall progress, badges, ability to purchase courses. All right, so that's the student. Now, that was sort of an easy part, right? It's pretty straightforward. The instructor portion is not as straightforward. This instructor portal, I will be, oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I just needed to respond to somebody I posted the wrong link on Twitter. It was the link to join as a guest here, and I had to repost the YouTube link. But now we're getting some people. So thank you guys for joining. And thank you for going over this. So I will just go through, right? I'm just going to show you my process for this. And this comes with experience. Okay. So take my experience and hopefully you can apply it to yourself. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to break it down, right? As an instructor, I want to see a dashboard, right? So dashboard, and you can do this in a Google Doc, right? Google Docs formats everything better. I'm doing it here just so I have everything in one file. I'm in Figma, so I'm doing all of my planning and defining in Figma. We will then transfer to a design system. We'll do our design system in Figma. And then I'm working with some designers at Kaleo, and we may just implement straight into FlutterFlow. That's a process. It's not a required process. Typically, what we've done in the past is built out our designs in Figma, gotten everything done, and then we moved to FlutterFlow. What we've realized is that some projects that require advanced prototyping, when we do that stuff in Figma, we spend a lot of time and waste a lot of money of the clients to get a prototype that is not dynamic and only does about 50% of what we actually need it to do for the prototype. And so what we're trying to implement is a way to basically develop and design in FlutterFlow. Now that requires a good amount of experience in FlutterFlow. You have to understand the concepts and how to design in FlutterFlow. But what it does do is it unlocks you with the ability to utilize template screens, to utilize flows. You don't have to design those. Those are already pre-designed, okay? For this LMS, I'm using a marketplace item as my base. I'm not gonna just jump in and start from scratch, okay? For client projects, it's typically a good way to go. But even then, we just did an admin portal for a client, and I utilized the web admin portal flow that we have in FlutterFlow. It's just default, basic, as a sidebar with a content section. I created all my tables in the content section, and I utilized that side navigation for the admin portal, and it just works phenomenal. And I was able to do it in 2 days. So yeah, in this instructor portal, we're going to have a dashboard. That dashboard is going to have the ability. I'm just going to go ahead and create. We're going to do list views here. So dashboard, we're going to have the ability to view current courses, student overview, right? I want to know how many students are participating in my classes and maybe what classes are most popular courses. And then I want the ability, right? Actually, CTA, create new course. Okay, this is going to be like number one. We want to create a new course. And then we're going to have a list view of all of our classes. So all courses, right? This will also have that CTA to create new course. But before that, it's going to have a list of all courses. The list of all courses will have basic info, name, description, number of students, last edited, created by. I would highly recommend utilizing some of this metadata. You create it in Firebase, right? You create the created by, created for, last edited, but it really helps you once you build out robust software to understand, who's touched this last, who created it. Did I create it? Did somebody else create it? Especially when you work, right? Like we talk about this in FlutterFlow all the time, but when you actually create software for your clients, is also very beneficial to know these little things. So, yeah, number of students, last edited, created by, and then number of modules and lessons. That's a good one also, like maybe an average score of students are getting on a course, but I think I will do that in the detail screen maybe, right? So like from this all courses, we would be able to dive into the course details, right? Which we'll say course details. And there I'm going to just get all of this information again, but I'm going to do right here. Basic info. Let's, oops, sorry. See, this is why I probably do this in Google Docs, but basic info. Yeah, so average student grade, upcoming assignments, average student progress. We also probably want, so in addition to this like basic info, right? On this course details page, we don't just want to show the name and name, description, etc., and that metadata. What we want to do is we want to showcase, if you're in a current course, you want a list of students. So typically these detailed views are just filtering options for you. And that's very common in most SaaS products. So we're going to say list of students in course. Now, and again, you may be like, where is this guy coming up with this information? I've designed a couple LMSs in my time of being a designer. So I'm gathering a lot of this information from my past experience, but also doing a lot of research. So when you approach a new project, I would definitely recommend going to Dribble or Mobbin or the internet and just searching competitors in that industry. Do a benchmark analysis, right? Benchmarking is saying what is the standard, right? So when I'm building a booking app for rentals, right? I'm going to go to Airbnb. I'm going to go to Thumbtack. I'm going to go to these on-demand services or listing sites like booking.com and Airbnb to see how they go through the process. What do they display on their home screens or on the detail screens? Where do they put the ratings? That's what benchmarking is. It's saying what is available in the market, what is the standard, and then where can we sort of come in and differentiate ourselves, but what are the things that we need to have in place? So we're going to do that. Let's see. So yeah, we'll have average student progress on the list of students in the course, right? That's probably where we're going to have the student grade and progress, right? And then we'll be able to dive into that student details as well. Let's go ahead and do that. So course details. Also within that course details, right, we have those modules. So we probably will have a tab view, right? So let's go ahead. I'm going to do student list of students. So this list of students and basic info. Let's see if we can move this stuff up. Sorry, this is like on the fly, but what I want is I want to do a tab view, right? Because we're going to have course details, so course information. Then we're going to have content within that course, and then we're going to have students in that course. So this students, let's see, average student grade, average student progress. This is going to be a dashboard of stuff, and I'm going to say course overview here. Okay, assignments, average student progress. Okay, perfect. And then here we're going to have a list of students in course. And then I think I'm going to move this stuff up here as well. We'll do that. We'll just bring that in. Awesome. So course overview, list of students in course, and then course content. Okay. List of modules and lessons. Perfect. Okay. So already I've defined some hierarchy in this course details page, right? We have a course overview, list of students in the course, and the course content. I don't know which one I'll show first. I'll probably dive into that as I start building it out, but probably this course overview can live almost the top above those things, but we definitely want some segmentation of the larger portion. So content and students. And I sort of want this all on the same screen. Personally, I only want to go one level deep. I always hate, and this is going to happen when you build complex products. Okay. You're going to go multiple levels deep. So how do you build out a user experience around that is intuitive and not a headache, right? So often as a designer and working with other designers, we lose this point. We'll design a flow where a user has to go 5 levels deep into a product to get to a detail screen of something. So figuring out better practices in order to reduce the amount of clicks necessary to actually get to the content that somebody wants to see is very beneficial. Sometimes it's unavoidable. So sometimes, like, to get down to a student details, for this, right, we may have to do a number of clicks, but maybe the student details isn't an additional page. Maybe it's a side modal, right? Maybe it's something that slides in. So what I've sort of done in the past for projects like this applies to admin panels, applies to manager portals, applies to everything we've designed for the web. We like to go 2 levels deep for full pages, and that third view, what we'd like to do is do a side modal. Okay, so you can always, you're 2 levels deep. So you have a dashboard, you have a details page, maybe, yeah, that's it. Dashboard, details page, side panel. Okay. Then you can feed in a lot of extra content into that side panel, but consistent user experience, and you're not 5 levels deep on pages. You're not, and you don't also typically, so here, right, we're going to have lists of students. So also we're going to have lists of lessons and modules. So this will be the challenge, but you typically want to view those things quickly. So the course details, we want an overview of stuff. We want an overview of information, what's involved in that course, what are we looking at, right? And then how can we change it? So we're going to have edit options here. We're going to have the ability to get a nice overview. But then I want to view student progress, okay? And I probably want to view student progress pretty quickly, all right? So when I take somebody to that student progress, and hopefully you guys can visualize this. I know I'm just talking over a bullet pointed list. I'm seeing it in my head, but I'm a visual person. So when I take people into that, and they want to view another student. So they want to view one student's progress, and then another student's progress, and then another student's progress. If I take them to a separate page, right? So maybe I'll just work this out in user flows, because this is defining, or this is planning. This is defining. Okay. This is the second step. We've made a good progress here. Maybe I'll do more on this, but I'll go to defining now. Okay. Because this will be helpful. Ruben, we're going through sort of the process that we take when we take on new FlutterFlow projects. So again, process needs to be involved. So often we just want to jump right into design or right into development, And the reason we fail projects, the reason why we don't deliver projects is because we don't realize that what we need to deliver requires 10x the amount of work that we thought it was going to take, because we just dove right into design. Oh yeah, maybe we got 10 of the screens done really quick, and then we realized, oh, there's like a dozen other use cases. And so often in junior designers, and so often in my process as a junior designer, right? You guys get to see the culmination of 10 years of experience. So it's sort of unfair, right? You look at what I do, or how I build in FlutterFlow, and maybe it's impressive, maybe it's not. But it's 10 years of experience. It's 3.5 years of building the product itself and working with Abel and Alex, from day one. And this is how you build stuff. So I have a real advantage with that. But when it comes to planning stuff out, I want you guys to be successful, and I want to be successful. I want to deliver products, right, Ruben? We want, scope creep. How do you avoid scope creep? Well, when you have something clearly defined, right, then you can say, okay, we've already done the planning. We've already done this. We already know what it's going to take. Maybe there's some nuance in development. Maybe there's some nuance in implementation, but you will generally know what it takes, the amount of screens it's going to take for you to build out. So yeah, we've done this, but I want to talk about this UX standpoint, because this planning leads to defining, and that defining leads to user experience issues. So we always need to keep in mind the end user. We want to make it a pleasant user experience. So working in bulleted lists sometimes works, doesn't always work. So let's go ahead and define. And we're just going to define this use case right here. We're going to do this: course details, the course overview, list of students, and course content. Okay, so again, it may be, it may be a little boring for you, but if you understand, this is the process that I go through, and it's sort of how I plan stuff. So you'll understand some of the thinking, and maybe it's not as visual. Hopefully it'll be beneficial. Hopefully it'll be beneficial. So I'm going to do very specific things. I'm going to say course details UX. Okay. And course details, that's where we're going to start. Right. So on this, we're going to have, and I'm in Figma right now. So if you guys are wondering, this is in Figma. I mentioned, but it's being recorded. I need to do somewhere. Jose, yes, it's being recorded. It's on YouTube. It will live on the Kaleo channel in YouTube. So please go there and watch it later. Okay. We're going to work in low fidelity. Low fidelity is a simple boxes. Okay. We're going to draw a bunch of boxes here, and then we're going to showcase the hierarchy. And this really helps. I'm doing this in this screen is not a full screen design. Okay. It's 470 pixels by 300. All right. This is a very small thing because we're going to make it a user flow. So we're going to create multiple of these. We're going to draw some arrows. I have all of this stuff, right? And I'll share some sort of semblance of a Figma file with y'all. But I have all these like flow, arrows that I'm going to connect the screens, right? Because this is part of the defining. It helps you. It will help us. So, all right, this is that screen, and we're over here. Course details UX. Okay, cool. So we're going to have, course name up here. And then we're going to have some more details here. We're just going to do that. Do this. And then I want those 3 tabs, right? So I'm going to do this. It's okay to use some color to define. So I will do that. And this. And I'm going to use some auto layout here. We're going to do 4 here. So this will be our selected and unselected state. So these guys can be that alternate still. There you go. And then this will be, and I'm going to use some, text just so that it gives us, boxes are great and all, but we just want some clarity. So we're going to say this will be course overview. Okay. And it's going to be a table design down here. And for this guy, maybe we'll do, let's see where, hey, display label, small. Yeah. I'm going to just go ahead, do that. Okay. And then I can create 3 of these so that we have it. And I will just do this. This one will be students. Okay, current students, I think. So we have that. Oh, you know what? I'll switch so that my video is. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop screen sharing. I'm gonna move my Figma over here so I'm actually looking at the camera and not away from it. And then I'll move my Chrome over here. And thank you, Jamie, so much for managing the chat. So I appreciate that a lot. Now I'll reshare this. Perfect. All right, so we have current students, and Carol, thanks for joining, man. So if you're joining late, I think Carol just joined. We went over some planning, right? Course details, list of students and course. So now we're going to define this user experience here. So we have course overview, current students, and the third tab will be course content, right? So this course content, it's going to be probably a grid or a list. Doesn't matter. But for now, just to shape it up, we'll do a little grid here. And it'll be, each of these will be a module, right? So we'll just do this. We will group, we'll auto layout that guy and do wrap. It's perfect. We'll do some height here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So course content. So on this course details will be 1 level deep, right? So we have this, and now I can just do this. I can just copy and paste this, right? So we have courses, and then we need an arrow here. So let's go ahead and drag. Let's just go ahead and copy and paste this guy over, right? I'll do this, and then this is a snake split straight U-turn. We don't need a U-turn. Split, no. I just wanna.
Andrew, so I realized I can unmute myself. You need to switch your screen.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
I'll keep him in check, guys. I realized just now that I can unmute myself without needing Andrew's permission. So we'll keep it in check.
Praise. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Okay. We're going to I just want to rotate this, dude. Ay. Curved up. Maybe just a curve. Yeah. Ay. Okay. 180. Okay. Dude, 90. That's what I want. Okay. Sorry. Arrows. So we have this. Right, we're going 1 level deep here. And then we have like, this is all in the same hierarchy, right? Because it's a tab view. But if we were to do student details, right? So let's say that these are current students. So this is a list view of students, right? So we have this here. And we'll just group that auto layout. We'll do 4. All right. So now if I want to view students, right? We'll have to go deep like this. And I'm going to do straight. Perfect. All right. Okay. So this is not so bad. This is 3 levels deep, but if you want to view multiple students, so I typically when I teach now. So if I want to view a student's progress in the course, and I click in here, and then I get student details here. So we'll change this to student details. I'm not going to do this. This is not the ideal user experience because quickness of toggling or quickness of viewing multiple aspects of sub-content, okay? So here we don't have this. We're gonna have student name up here, and then like, some grade stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like maybe previous lessons, right? Typically for sub content. So this is sub content, this is sub content. You don't need a full screen view, okay? So if I wanted to, and really if we did this, I would want to provide some breadcrumbs here, right? So I could get back, okay? So this is my student details. And this guy is primary background, and this guy maybe is like our X1, right? So we want to provide some, if you do this, right, this is the user experience you want, this is what you should do. You should provide an easy way back, right, to this list, okay? Problem with this is it's a lot of clicking. If you want to find a specific student, right, you click this, you get this, you're changing an entire view, you're changing an entire data set, right? So you're clicking here, clicking here, you're clicking here, you're clicking here, okay? So that's one way, and it's sort of an annoying way. It's just a lot of visual load and a lot of visual back and forth. So one caveat to that, or one better way to do that, in my opinion, and again, it's my opinion, you do not have to take it. Do this curve, maybe curve up. Earth. Ay. This is terrible. Okay, we're gonna do this snake. Yeah, perfect. All right. So another way to do this would be to do a side modal. Now, the side modal, they're still clicking back and forth, but there's two ways you can do it. You could do it where you make the side modal sort of push the information out over here, and you don't do an overlay, or you could just do an overlay on this, and then provide that information in that side modal. So I'm going to go ahead and just group all this, and we will move down to 60 so we get this idea that something's happening. We'll do this little guy. Just do this for now. All right, so the side modal, what this is just something that comes up over here, and it has some information, but it provides you with a view behind, right? You don't have to click back to know like sort of what other students are out there. You automatically have that here. So it gives you a view, right? This is something that is common and that can be done in FlutterFlow really easily. Don't do a side drawer, just do a custom dialog. So when you click into this student, you can click over here. You can also do no overlay here, where this information just comes here. What you want to do, right? And this is a user experience thing. This is a nuance thing. All right, it's a nuance thing. Please provide separation of content. Whatever you do, please provide separation of content. So when you have a side modal here, an overlay is proper, right? An overlay here is proper. You're probably going to show like which selected student this one is. So it's probably going to be something like this, right? And then you're going to also have that student information. So we're just going to take this student information. We're going to bring it down here, and we're just going to make it this. Fill container, cool, awesome. All right, something like that. Okay, so you have the same content. You have it in a shorter width, which you could increase the width, but it provides you with the ability to sort of toggle through this stuff behind and then view the student details here. Again, same amount of clicking, but the user experience is totally different. Actually, it's less amount of clicking. So in this view, you have to go back to the previous page to view another student's details, and you get this other page. Again, sort of annoying. In this way, and if you have an overlay, you have an overlay. If not, then you can, if you provide this with the ability, just like in chat, right? We've done mobile chat versus responsive chat, like desktop chat, where you can quickly and easily cycle through the chat messages on the left and view the chat details on the right. Same concept, right? This is a concept that's typically missed in just most UX design. Okay, again, this is me. This is sort of my philosophy of design, and hopefully it helps you understand why I make decisions that I make and why we continually produce. I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but why Kaleo continually produces high quality products for numerous clients. So I only say that because we've been blessed with so many awesome clients. 2 of them have got acquired in the last year. One for 20 times EBITDA, which is like expenses, something. Anyways, it's pretty impressive. And they were able to do that because their product worked. Their clients loved it. Their clients stuck around and utilized their product constantly. So a lot of the things that we've designed and produced, and FlutterFlow is just an example of that, but it allows people, maybe they're not perfect products. I don't think there is a perfect product out there, but the user experience is something that is beneficial to the user. It's intuitive. It's easy. It's not a pain to use either. So you'll see a lot of our designs. You can go to Kaleo Design's site just to view our designs. It's mostly neutral colors. That's another thing, right? I'll have an entire course on color choosing and how to utilize colors, because so often in a lot of the apps that I view from FlutterFlow, a lot of the people that build apps in FlutterFlow, colors are overused. Okay, I'm sorry, they're just overused. You don't want to overwhelm the user, especially in something as complex, right? So to contextualize it back to this product, an LMS is extremely complex. There's a lot of information that a user has to consume. Okay, so we want there to be the least amount of friction or sensory overload. Okay, please reduce sensory overload, especially when you're designing data heavy applications. Use a lot of neutral colors. I'm only going to utilize my primary color for primary actions, CTAs, selected states, maybe like a grade or something. Like maybe I'll throw in some color here when I want to have a grade. So maybe I'll have a green for when it's an A, or a yellow when it's a B or C, and then a red if they're failing, something like that. But utilize them sparingly. Utilize a lot of neutral colors because you want your user just to be comfortable, and we are all humans that get overwhelmed easily, right? There's enough busyness in this world. This is not a web application is not a ad. Okay. It's not Times Square, right? You're not trying to grab the user's attention and make them, those things are trying to grab your attention. And so often people try to bring in graphic design to product design, and it just doesn't work. So consistency, simplicity, hierarchy, all of these things are keys to delivering successful products. But part of this design thinking is important. And the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. And then when a client hires you, you're automatically going to be visualizing, oh, okay, yeah, this is how it works. This is how it works. Okay, cool. And then I can visualize that and I can explain it to my client, right? Typically, our clients are entrepreneurs or small companies or small startups, right? Those small startups are bootstrapped or maybe have a little bit of funding from accelerators, but they don't understand product design. They don't understand the product development cycle. So this will help you define that product development cycle, because when you have this, right, and this defined or planned out, and then you have it defined in user experience design, this also, I'll just state, okay, again, I'm giving out trade secrets here. So whenever I've delivered this to a client, right, it's going to be more built out because we're only doing this in an hour, but typically this takes 2 to 8 hours of work. Okay. Typically when I deliver this to a client, every single client is absolutely thrilled. They love this deliverable. It is probably, probably their favorite beyond the visual designs. But this helps them understand the flow of the product, right? And then we'll get into data flow and all that stuff. But But this stuff is extremely important and part of every one of our FlutterFlow projects that we take on, unless the flow is already defined by the client. So we have numerous clients now that want us to basically like re-implement a glide app into FlutterFlow, or maybe I'm not supposed to mention where they're coming from. Other no-code platforms, they want us to implement their apps in FlutterFlow, okay? So their flows are pretty well defined. So the only time we're gonna do this is when we are defining new features, which typically are unavailable in those other no-code tools that now we can implement in FlutterFlow. So we'll work through, okay, this is what it looks like. This is where it's gonna go. But this, and this is key. It is key to a successful product, okay? It will help you so much. Also, when you sort of plan for the future, when you work out a contract, right? So scope creep was mentioned. Yeah, it's mentioned. Oh, sorry, I was trying to read comments and then I'm trying to switch back. Scope creep was mentioned in the comments earlier. Okay, in order to avoid scope creep, if you do this correctly, right, and you put this in your contract, guess what? You can assign hours to each of these things, and then you can say, look, this is what it's going to cost for the large version of the application. Everything, full featured, build out, everything. This is what it's going to cost. Okay, and this is how much time is spent on each of these sections. Guess what? If there's scope creep, or if the client is like, hey, I want to build out a new feature, or hey, we're over budget, we need to cut something, you have hours assigned to each of these, right? You have an idea of hours assigned to each of these. So you can say, look, what can we cut? We need to cut 20 hours in the project. Okay, well, maybe we we remove the student details. Maybe you just get a list of students and their average grade in the list view. You can't view the student details, at this point. We'll do that V2, okay? Or maybe you don't get the average student grade for the course, right? That's a custom function. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some backend calls to get that. So maybe we just don't do that here. Upcoming assignments, maybe that is off the platform. But you have something that you can cut from, right? Or you have something to say, hey, we've made it 60% of the project, right? We have in our planning stage, we defined 30 screens that will need designed. Okay. In those 30 screens, there's different states for each of those. So that's where this sort of comes in, right? This is one screen. This course details is one screen, but it's not one screen. It's 3 screens hidden in one screen. Okay. It's a tab view. So you have details here that you need to design. List view, details here you need to define. You need to do a backend call, etc. Same thing here, backend call. You need the ability to define what's in the grid, and then you need the ability to click into this and view the course content, right? That module, and you need to edit that module once you get there. You need to edit the lessons that are in that module, etc., etc., etc. So often, clients or people that are not averse to product thinking, they'll be like, oh, course details, like that's one screen. And it's like, yeah, but not really. And you have to define the states. You have to help them understand these are the states that are involved in a screen design. Okay. So this helps them, right? We go from this, which is the planning, to which is bullet points, to now you have a diagram, you have a definition of what those are, and you have a general idea, right? You have a general idea of what is needed. Okay. This is about the fidelity that we go on these thumbnail wireframes. We may add a little bit here, a little bit there to sort of improve them, but this is about the fidelity we do. Now, we were able to do this in about 25 minutes. Okay. I'm really experienced in doing this, so maybe it takes you an hour. Doesn't matter. You're going to get better at it. I've done components here. So I have components. I actually have the ability, I think I have a sidebar or something. Main page. Yeah, I have like, a place that I have a sidebar and all this stuff. So you can get better and better at it. I utilize components in Figma more than I do in FlutterFlow. But it will help you come up with this process where you will get faster and faster at this, and you'll deliver better products. You'll realize over the course of my first 6 years in design, I probably delivered. I worked on 70 projects. I probably was the deliverer of 10 of those projects, right? I was the final designer that delivered it to be like launched on the App Store or launched as a product. Okay. That's just because I didn't have these processes defined. I didn't know what it took to actually launch a product. All right. I didn't understand that I had to have my process fine tuned so that when that user or that client is ready to launch on the App Store, these are the things they need. And this is what they need for a complete product. So after about 6 years, I started defining these things. I started hiring people at Kaleo. We got a lot better at it. And now we've delivered, we're delivering about 70 to 80% of the products we actually design. So this is stuff that will help you become better at your craft. If you don't want to become better at your craft, no problem. You don't have to join the live stream. That's the beauty of this system. You don't have to implement any of this stuff. If you do want to just listen, this is sort of how we do it. And this is how we deliver a lot of products. And then FlutterFlow has increased that by tenfold. Like that's another issue where, we design maybe beautiful products and then we pass it off to development and it gets like 70% there. So we love that FlutterFlow provides us with the ability to deliver that stuff as a design team with help from developers. So Carol, yes, I will help you. So now I have 4 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and answer. So Jamie, just want to shout out Jamie. Thank you so much for moderating the chat. And I'm going to sit here and try to answer some of these questions that you guys had as well. The first one, this one. I think there are too many colors in the theme section in FF. So the theme actually has 16 colors now. No, I don't think that is too many. 16 is the bare minimum that I would use. By that, the reason for that, right? Neutral colors. They're key to any app design, any successful app design. You need a background, you need text, right? You need text colors, you need a divider color. We have all of that defined in FlutterFlow. It's very beneficial. Most design systems have way too many colors. We were just coming up with like our base Figma file for FlutterFlow projects and for just any project in general. We have a base file that we duplicate every new project. So we get to use some of the base elements. And dude, there's like 45 colors in variables. And I was like, this is stupid. It's like way too many. We will never utilize this amount of colors in an application, right? 45 colors. No. But 16 to 24 is very beneficial. It allows you to provide nuance in your design and utilize them sparingly, especially when you have like different statuses, right? Of elements. So grades, right? You could have failing or in progress, and you want like maybe 2 colors like that. I've been utilizing sort of a primary color and then a opacitated version of that. So in all of our themes in FlutterFlow, there's primary, secondary, tertiary, and then exit 1, 2, and 3 are just 30% opacity of that color. And that provides me with the ability to like do a fill of that and then a border of the primary color, something like that. So that's the first one. Let's see. White off. And then yes, Carol, this is a great one as well. I will share the Figma file with you. I need to remove some stuff that is pertinent to myself and my project, but I will I'll share that. So it has all of the components that we have that we create. And maybe I'll remove some of my design thinking elements of the planning. I don't know. I won't give away all that stuff. You can watch the live stream and recreate it if you want. But yeah, I'll share what we've done today. Remove the planning stage. But yeah, that's good. Also this question. Come on. Please, I will be hosting BuildShip on this live stream. I will. They're just awesome. They're absolutely amazing. There is no alternative to BuildShip. don't use an alternative. I mean, I think like FastGen or something came up, and I haven't heard much from them. But I know the build ship team personally. They're amazing. They are shipping like wildfire. I'm going to be watching. They just did a live stream before this one. I was actually watching it. They did an amazing job of just explaining how to implement AI assistance, right? Which we tried to do a live stream about it. And then Abel, the CEO of FlutterFlow, was like, don't do that because that's not best practice. It's best practice to do all of that in the back end. You don't want to expose all those things in the front end. I was like, dang, okay, so we can't do this in FlutterFlow. But BuildShip has provided you the ability to do that. So utilize BuildShip, please. I'm going to dive straight into it. I never had time when I was working at FlutterFlow to actually explore BuildShip and at a detailed level of fidelity. And so I missed out on a lot of that. I was like, I love it, but I never used it because I just didn't have time. I will be using it for this LMS, period. I'm going to be doing custom emails. I'm going to be doing Stripe integration for the web, for subscriptions. I'm going to be doing, just like default emails, account management, a lot of things that I'm going to need a backend for, and I'm using BuildShip. So, yeah, like this is, I'll be building Udemy in FlutterFlow essentially, and I'll be just doing stuff there. I don't know if that's the best way, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge myself to do that. So, okay, this is a good question as well. Do we handle deployment or let the client handle that? What we do at FlutterFlow or at Kaleo is we make the client own all of their accounts, their Firebase, their App Store connects, their Play Store. We make them own all of that. Okay, they're paying for it. If they ever leave us or they ever want to leave us, they have access to that. It's theirs. Don't hold your clients to your accounts. Okay, please. It's not best practice. Let them own the stuff. They're paying you. Cheap clients, maybe not, but you can just remove we keep the FlutterFlow project and ownership of the FlutterFlow project for two reasons. One, we have a team account, so we can collaborate, real-time collaborate. We can invite whoever we want and real-time collaborate with them. Two, if the client doesn't pay, we do own that, right? So if the client is paying, right, great client, we'll hand off that at any time. And typically, even when clients don't pay, like there's been times we don't deliver and we've had to refund 10K, and that sucks. But you refund the 10K, you hand off the file, you transfer ownership, all of that. But yeah, we walk the client through deployment. So we'll do, like right now we're setting up revenue cap for a client. We do all of that stuff. They manage their revenue cap account. So get us the keys and everything that we need from a privacy standpoint, but then we implement it in FlutterFlow, make sure all the logic works, and then we're going to walk through that deployment process to the App Store. So good question, Ruben. Let's see, simple app turnaround time from requirements to delivery. This is a very arbitrary answer, and by that I mean it depends on how fast you are. At Kaleo, we've done apps in 2 months. We've done apps in 8 months. So it depends on, I mean, we're going to be where we're pitching a project right now where they've built out the entire app in FlutterFlow. They have a good amount of logic in that. They've done an amazing job, and it looks dated. It looks it's not modern. And so we're going to pitch a design to them, just say, hey, we're going to redesign this, make it a little more modern, a little more nuanced, and less tailored to this specific audience. And, we're just going to see. I think it's going to take us, I'm doing an estimate right now, and I think it's going to take us like a week. So it just depends on how much time you have to work on it. And again, it depends on your speed, right? I'm fast. And I'm fast because I've established best practices. So I reduce the amount of things that I have to do over and over and over again. So that's very helpful. But good question. Let's see. I'm only going to do like 2 more because we're already over time. Oh, I have a client meeting right now. So access colors, apps across the web. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. Will join. Come on, Will. Okay. We're missing you, man. But Jamie's managing comments. So thank you so much, Jamie. Let's see. My client moved from A to build ship, but he was pretty confident. Yeah. Yep. We don't we're in the process of this. We don't know what we're gonna do. Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I've been talking with my partner Chase about doing a subscription service versus what we do now. We basically do a subscription service now for certain things. So like for our design clients, we have retainers, which are basically a monthly fee. We work the hours necessary, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining. This went, I hope on my end, it went great. We had 180 people join across the different platforms, mostly on Twitter, I guess. 193, and that's just amazing, absolutely amazing. I thank you guys. I hope this was beneficial, and there's hopefully going to be more content like this coming out where we sort of walk through the process. We will get back to building in FlutterFlow, so the live streams won't be just about process or just about design. We're not switching that. I will sort of dive into how to build in FlutterFlow still and nuances of that. But I want our experts and our freelancers and our agencies to up their game in some of this delivery stuff and establishing those best practices. I'm basically saying this is how we're going to handle it at Kaleo. You can handle it like we do, or you don't have to. There's a stream of success there that we're very thankful for. So implementing some of this stuff will hopefully help you guys deliver better products and become more professional and more confident in what you're delivering. So thank y'all. Hope you guys have a wonderful week and a great weekend. Enjoy, and I'll